All right. First time I've seen Solar today, as obviously he actually came in from a... whoa, this game started really quick. Solar was got a free win in the round of 8. Didn't actually have to play against Cure because for whatever reason, Cure didn't show up today, which is obviously a bit of a shocker. Well, come on. Because in the bottom right, we've got Solar, but we've got to be cheering on Zest here. Give us a PvZ final, Zest. Give us a PvZ final. You know you want to. It's what we want. It's what we need. It's what we deserve. As we go into this PvZ, game number 1. Best of 3 here, still in the semifinals. Man, Solar's room is pretty cool as well. I want to see a close-up again, like the bigger screen, because I love that he's got his DreamHack trophies in the back. Yeah, Solar's room is also pretty cool. I like it. You know, like, Sue's room was really cool. Solar's room is really cool. Zest's room. Zest did actually tidy up since the last... Oh my god, Zest actually tidied up! You guys remember Zest against Time? Zest's room was a mess. He's tidied up for sure. He's realized. He's heard that Wardy was calling him out for his room. He's like, God damn it, my mom's not being around, you know, to tell me off instead. You know, I kind of keep her out of my apartment, but now Wardy's under me. Oh, God, better tidy. Yeah, it's okay, Zest. If you saw inside my apartment, you'd nag me to tidy as well. So it's okay. I didn't mean to be a bully, Zest. I'm sorry. All right. Excitement aside, let's actually get into this PvZ. As this is our second semi-final already. Kind of crazy. We've gone through, you know, not really 4 best of 3, 4 quarterfinals, but even still, we've only been live 3 hours. I really thought it was going to be like a 7-hour day. Now we've got a best of 3 and a best of 5 left, 3 hours deep. So it's been pretty quick so far. It's been a little bit more one-sided than we would have liked it to be. Gonna be seeing the gas going down, Cybercore setting up. Lightning speed on the way up. Next is building. And there's really not much to mention. There was the hatchery block early, so that maybe gives Zest a reason to go Twilight Council, but it will be a Stargate, even Zest. You know the Twilight Council's really running out of fashion when Zest is going for a Stargate as well, right? That's, it's really something. You know, when Zest is giving up on the Twilight Council build, I think at that point you just gotta say, right, you know what? Let's move on. The PvZ meta has for sure changed. So a Stargate here as we get this going. That's gonna be seeing the Stalker producing Warp Gate coming up. And, yeah, Link Speed is going to be finishing in a few moments' time. A couple extra drones in production. And the Gateway drops, Stalker moves out, and the Stargate in the main base finishes up as the Oracle will Chrono Boost away. So, Chrono boosting out this Oracle right now. Going to get this up and running. And you see another Gateway building up as well as... Oh, some background music. We've not had a lot of that in these games today. I'm kind of hoping this is a cool series, though, because I really feel like every series today, we've had a couple cool games. I feel like overall series, like, I'd love to see this at least just go to 3 maps. You know, if that goes to 3 maps, even if we end up with a ZVZ final, then I'm kind of happy, you know? Then I'm kind of happy. So, yeah, we'll see how this goes as Zest just lets some Lings into his main. That's less than ideal. Especially because he's going to get in to see that the fact there's a Phoenix on the way from the Stargate right now, so Solo gets some pretty good info. And he starts up a Spore Crawler, 2 more Queens, and the first Oracle's about to arrive in the main. Is there already a Spore Crawler here? There is, so not really a big issue. And Zest actually didn't pay attention to it right away, so this Oracle honestly could have done a little bit more right from the start. A little bit unfortunate that he kind of lets it go by without too much being achieved, honestly. And this Oracle actually does okay in the natural. 3 drones, not bad. Of course, the Spore drone pull as well, right? And that definitely adds up. Just doesn't want to lose the Oracle. As Zest continues into double Stargate Phoenix, so he's going to go into a lot of Phoenix here. Zest has actually enjoyed this build for a while. It was something he would mix in even during the Twilight Council era. So, yeah, just Going into the double Stargate Phoenix, getting those up and running. And just going to be seeing a pylon and Nexus on the way down the third base over on this left-hand side. So yeah, getting that set up and running here. And it's just going to be seeing our Rotron coming through, our lair continuing to build. A lot more Lings continuing into play with a few extra drones. But overall, Solar putting... I mean, the Rotron obviously isn't really necessary against the Phoenix, so it is important for him to try and figure that out a little bit. Try and see what exactly is going on. The thing is, it's difficult to know exactly that this is a second Stargate compared to just like a Twilight and a Robo follow-up. Sentry is here, drop the force field. Because there's not really much you can see, because right now, if this was Twilight Robo, you wouldn't really be seeing much either. So yeah, I mean, Solar a little bit in the dark. As the Phoenix actually going into the middle of the map much sooner than usual. This Oracle going to pull back to help against these Lings, but these Lings are going to break in, and Zest just was never really able to stabilize the wall here at all. The Lings run in, so a lot of probes going to be going down. I mean, obviously you get a scout and the double Stargate now, and we see a Spire starting, so all of a sudden Solar builds a Spire, but there's actually going to be a double Robo as a follow-up from Zest already, so he's already making progress to his next step. As I mean, losing 5 probes obviously is less than ideal. This was not really what you wanted to be happening here, as a few of these drones go down, so at least some counter damage done by the Phoenix. It's actually not so bad. I mean, Solar's only on a 5-ish worker lead, so it's manageable for Zest. His third base is still up and running. And yeah, the Phoenix actually doing some good counter damage, and now an Immortal on the way with an Observer too. I'm really interested what comes out of the Spire, because with this amount of Phoenix, you don't really need Corruptors, but you also, obviously, you just can't go Mutalisks. So yeah, I'm not sure right now. Fourth hatchery in the top right-hand side. The Phoenix still setting up. The Overlord's moving around a little bit, and our Twilight Council and Forge also setting up at the moment. A couple of Queens get here, and the Phoenix get pushed away to the right-hand side. And they are kept back for the moment. There's 8 Corruptors coming through, and those drones kind of lifted, so a couple of workers going down right away. Again, with 8 Corruptors on the way out, we're going to have the Banelin Nest coming through from Solar as well. Our melee upgrade continuing in, and there's a lot of kills so far. These Phoenix are putting some absolute work. So Zest so far doing the, putting the good stuff out there, doing a good job of this. 4 gates down, added on as he goes into +1 and blinks, to definitely getting ready to go aggressive. Bane Nest finishes, and there's our Bane speed pretty much immediately, so goes straight in for that one. Just going to be seeing again these gates off over the left-hand side. 7 extra gates, so again, you're really going to hit that explosion of gateway units, right? That moment where you just have so many units all of a sudden. As you just see, Ling Roach continue to build from Solar, so a lot of Ling Roach continuing up. The Phoenix around this top right-hand side. The Corruptors are out, and he's actually dodged the Corruptors. I'm actually kind of surprised about the Corruptors. It feels like that is such a big investment against such a low Phoenix count. Like, I get they can caustic spray and harass a little bit after this as well. Fortunate Twilight continuing to upgrade. You're going to see that infestation pits on the way down from Solar. So he continues to tech up too. I mean, again, with the Corruptors on the map, you've got to look at Solar's army supply, and in a fight, you've got to take like 20 army supply away. So, in a fight, his army supply is not actually great right now to actually go up against Zest. Of course, then the Corruptors can maybe fly in and do some good damage elsewhere at the same time. I guess Zest still has 5 Phoenix as well, so he's also missing a bit of army supply going into a fight also. If you kind of just take the air units out of it and think about what's going on the ground. And even more gateways. I'm obviously using a lot of these to wall off in SimCity as well, but it means he has just got so many gateways to warp in from. It's almost a shock that he can actually float money while this is happening. That's a good stasis ward. Good force fields as a follow-up. Second stasis ward is great as well. Well, what a moment or two from Zest. Those stasis wards are fantastic. Unfortunately, he's got probes that are going to run into the Bane somehow. Okay, they do actually line up with the Banelings in the end, and Solar might just have too much anyway. And SG just pushes through to kind of kill this. I mean, Corruptor's going to go into the main. And as the units pop out of stasis, he could have maybe jumped on the Immortal and Stalkers here. Zest is going to kind of hang on. I want to see what those Corruptors are up to. It looks like they're moving away from the main stage. Didn't get the caustic spray anything of meaning down. Now the Phoenix showing up. Couple corrosive vials, and that's going to be 2 Phoenix shot out the sky. That's going to be a dead Ravager in the front as well. And there's a group of Banelings morphing in the front lines. They get picked off pretty quickly as Stalkers, the Immortal and the Archon continuing forward. I mean, ready to go again. Ling Bane Ravager going to go rolling in towards this. The Stalkers blink back. It's a great storm on top of those Banelings. Having a storm really helps, but the problem is they're so limited in terms of how many storms you have. Army supply is actually back in favor of Zest, and this is actually maybe starting to go okay for him. He's actually going to deny some of these morphing Banes right now as well, so that's a pretty big deal. And he's about to have charge and +2, which is only going to make his army that much better going into the next stage of this also. 19 Banelings over on the right-hand side. The Ling Bane Ravager all joined up with the Corruptors overhead. I'm just going to see a Hive finishing up on the natural. So gives Zest something to worry about in the near future, right? Hive up. Definitely got to worry what comes out of that. The Spire's down, so I was going to say Greater Spire to me is maybe the most obvious choice here. And it is a Greater Spire that starts to build, so Greater Spire on the way. And yeah, Adrenal Glands continuing through from Solar at the moment, so that's just going to be his initial Hive tech. I mean, again, Zest's army supply is pretty good at the moment. Obviously, he needs to taste. Be careful with the fights. You know, Solar does have the money to... Well, he has the economy to realistically fight, rebuild, and fight again. I actually saw the drop lord top left. We'll see if Zest was paying attention, because if he just goes up and denies that right away, that would actually be a pretty good pick-off, honestly. Stalker's back through the center. We do have, again, Greater Spire about to finish. I mean, does Zest push before the Greater Spire? He's maxed out. Why not attack? Maybe because you're afraid of all the creep spread, but honestly, it's not really a proper reason. Like, I feel like being maxed out is a good reason enough to attack anyway. Oh, War Prison gets taken down. I mean, that's an annoyance. It's the top left. There's going to be some units running through. I mean, Zest's army is still kind of parked to that left side. We're not seeing it on the screen, but there's a lot of stuff just to the top left of these Stalkers. You can see that run by on the picture-in-picture. Straight into the natural, though. And that's a big issue. A lot of lings into that natural expansion. And, well, Zest is just going to continue pushing, going straight through the middle of the map. Going to find quite a few Banelings here initially, trying to morph in. First round of Banelings connection, but not really killing much. There's a lot of Storm Energy available still for Zest. He's got 17 probes so far, but he is going to start finding some damage of his own. These Broods are on their own, so the Stalkers blink in. They're going to start one-shotting Broodlords down. He's going to get a lot of them. He's finally out of one-shot range, but there's only 4 Broods left. The good news is they can sit in a very annoying position, but Solar is going to take a lot of damage himself. And you can see, I mean, Zest has money to rebuild, by the way, if he just has the production structures. He is going to be able to rebuild. He's got 3k, 1.5k. Zest, build anything, please. There's no way you, after all those gateways, you can't build anything right now. Zest, please spend your money. Whoops, in 1 Zealot. 10 High Templar on this side of the map. Yeah. I mean, I feel like you just... I mean, I don't understand why he didn't warp in 10 Zealots at home to defend these lings, but... I mean, just Zest things, right? Was that be just a little bit too easy? Probably would be. You know, Zest isn't an easy kind of guy. He likes to work for his victories. Didn't you know? Stalker Archon Immortal on top of this Hive. Gonna finish that off. I mean, Solar is rebuilding a little bit extra. Zest's supply has dropped a lot, but again, so much of it is just the work account. He's actually got Storms in this War Prism that he's just going to try and drop ahead of time, weaken up these Broodlords, make the blink in onto them a little bit easier to deal with. And Zest still has a ton of money, mostly minerals, as the Zealots just walk into this army. The Zealots wouldn't be bad right now. You overrun the kind of army on the ground that, you know, they can tank against Broodlings. There's a lot of positives to this for sure. Next round of Stalkers warping in there and going to pick off that supply, that spawning pool. So that goes down pretty much immediately, and we have got this Ling Ravager Baneling army from Solar setting up to go once again. Well, Solar's supply is kind of getting back up there, but again, I still like the army comp of Zest. I like this as well. There's no answer to this warp prism, so you can just kind of drop these storms off for free. Thing is, Solar's still mining off 2 bases in the top right, so he's continuing to build more. Kind of makes me feel like Zest has to go sooner rather than later. Again, Zest does have like a massive bank still to use, so I guess maybe he wants to try and make some use of that. He's finally going to start to repower these gates, and I think that's very important given the situation. Definitely a good thing as we do have our army back around to the right. Another hatch in the center. A lot of Stalkers going to finish up. I think it's going to run on by and try and get more damage across the map, but here's the big fight from Zest as he commits in. Storkham's going to come through, and did we ever doubt this army of Zest? Not really, no. Zest goes up 1-0 in the best 3 semi-final. Go Zest, huh? Go Zest as we go to the stage. Looking fantastic. And Zest is up 1-0 in this semi. Solar, man, Solar looks badass. Holy shit. Man, Solar looks good in that shirt. Wow. I mean, Zest always looks good, but Solar looks like Solar just leveled up a little bit in my eyes. Ooh. Ooh. Solar. Nice and Crow my second map in a moment or two. Still haven't been. Yeah, Solar's background's cool. Look at those trophies, man. Couple dream hacks, OSC trophies. I love that he's got the OSC trophies in the background. The OSC Championship is an event we cover every year, and it's cool that they have trophies that they send out. I love that Solar actually puts them in his cabinet, in his trophy cabinet, alongside everything else. That's actually really cool. I like Solar. Cool guy. You know what? Maybe I want to see a ZVZ final just so Solar can win. Solar top right, blue Zerg, bottom left, that red Protoss is Zest. We go into our game number 2. Yeah, Solar is always just on the top of the Korean kind of StarCraft kind of list, right? I'm trying to think what's these guys play a lot of online stuff as well. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if these two have like 200 plus maps against each other in their history. It's not quite. Actually, yeah, it's 150 to 118. Solar in the favor. They've played a lot against each other in online events. I mean, in 2020 so far, they've played 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Oh my god. Oh my god, they've played like 25 times this year. Wow. Like I say, they just both play pretty much every online event there is. So they meet each other a lot of the time because they're both good, so they both get far enough, and obviously the further you advance, the more likely it is they're going to meet each other. Holy crap. I mean, Solar really has had the advantage over Zest for the most part. He's won 4 of their last 5 meetings as well. But Zest is up 1-0. So maybe one of those rare Zest victories coming through here today. Alright, well, we get ourselves into a game number 2 with not much to talk about, no hatchery block, so hatcheries allowed on the natural. Zest has been tending to go for the Stargate openers, so there's not as much reason to hatch block when you go Stargate. You're not looking to punish it with like a Warp Prism or Glaive follow-up at all, so as the Stargate goes down, again, that's not really much of a surprise at all, I wouldn't say. You just go Warp Gate before the Stargate, which is a little different, and maybe trying to sell the idea of a Twilight Council to Solar, with the Overlord at the front, seeing the Warp Gate starting immediately, so that's maybe a slight mind game to think about as well. Maybe, you know, it would be cool to see Solar win, because while it's a ZVZ final then, maybe Solar has a better chance against Rogue. I don't know how well Zest matches up against Rogue when it comes to the current state of PvZ. Rogue actually 2-0'd Zest in the last season of GSL, so... he 2-0'd him and 2-1'd him. But actually, Zest beat Rogue in Doyu Cup, which was actually just some quick games, if I'm not mistaken. Rogue and Zest also played a bunch this year. Obviously, most notably in the IEM Katowice. As Zest got demolished in a very anticlimactic finals. But we're not in that finals yet. This is still the semis, and we're still just sort of discussing possibilities as we kill a few moments early game. Stargate. You know, this is the thing about the Stargate, not much happens. So we do actually have some time to kill and some, you know, we can discuss some bits and pieces here and there. As I just have the second Stargate starting, so that's going to go double Stargate Phoenix again. I mean, this is how he played last game, and obviously I feel like Solar went for those Corruptors, and I really can't stand by it. Like, I really feel like the Corruptors are great if he goes to, like, 10 plus Phoenix, but I feel like, you know, obviously Zest kind of figured out what was up. He cut at, like, 5 Phoenix or 6 Phoenix, and he got good damage done with them, and he was just transitioning. And I feel like that already just put Zest into a good spot, where Solar just didn't have a lot of value, because he put so much money into Aspire and, you know, 10 Corruptors or something, and that was just really, really expensive, quite frankly. Like, really, really expensive. I feel like that had a big role to play. And that's why I was kind of surprised that Solar was doing so well in some of the initial fights. Because I was like, well, the Corruptors just... Surely, like, he shouldn't have as much army to really make stuff like this happen. But, yeah, I played out a little bit differently than that for a while. Lab building up. Butch Warren is about halfway done. 7 drones. Bunch of Lings on the way through. Just going to see these couple Overlords building up as well. And just seeing our... Phoenix here going to get the Overlord kill, so Overlord will go down. A few Adepts joining up over on the third base as well. Phoenix still just gathering in the main. It's going to be, what, like 6 Phoenix already? I mean, this time Solar doesn't have like a fast lair to go into Aspire against this. The lair is only just finishing now. And that's going to show up. Obviously, this has been pretty unscouted until just recently, but the Queens are joined together, so there should be pretty limited damage these Phoenix can deal right away. Here's once again just 6 Phoenix though from Zest. Not a huge commitment, but he's not getting as much out of these Phoenix initially. He's going to lose one as well to the Spore Crawler in the main. And he gets himself 8 drones. Yeah, that's okay. And again, kind of damage that Solar's expecting to take. When you go up against double Stargate Phoenix, you can kind of overdrone a little bit, and in the end, Solar just goes into the Hydrogen. So get the Hydrogen up, and we've seen a lot of lurkers in PvZ lately, so maybe with that Hydrogen up, eyes toward a potential Hive and Lurker Den. Maybe not right away, but a couple minutes down the road from now, we could start thinking about that, perhaps. Nice catch on this Queen, but the other Queen show up for the transfusion just in time. Good play from Zest, though, right? Really poking around with those Phoenix and always looking for the opportunities. Solar is going to get into the Groove Spines. Like I say, just those hires coming up, and there's our Lurker Den alongside the Infestation bits. So we'll just be going Hive, we will just be going Lurkers. What a weird switch. We've been talking about this on DreamHack streams, and it really kind of was a... Is this really kind of shown up out of nowhere almost, right? Like, it just feels like I went away for a weekend, I come back, and suddenly instead of Banelines, like, you know, it's like my relationship with Banelines has ended. Lurkers are my new best friend. And, yeah, this matchup seems to have taken a very different road all of a sudden, so it's kind of cool to see that that switched. I mean, it's nice to see some stuff switching up. It just surprised me how quickly multiple regions have suddenly adopted this style, and it really has become super popular super quickly. You know, I like to think I'm pretty good at spotting, like, trends starting and kind of showing up, and I know I'm a little, you know, being, you know, away a couple days here and there, but, like, this really has just happened almost overnight, it feels like. All 3 drones going down. We do see the Fleet Beacon and a 3rd Stargate. So Zest is just going to start building straight at carriers. This means it's a huge map. Can take a lot of bases, so you can absolutely just go into a lot of carriers and stuff like that. Looks like we might get ourselves a bit of a later game. You know what? I like it. Finally a series where we're going to get at least a couple longer games out of this, so definitely some good news. Yeah, I'm actually a fan of this. I feel like obviously Zest getting into a pretty cool position as a few extra lurkers morphing in. That hive now done, so Solar can start getting the upgrades.
The minerals
have up and gone. Yeah, I mean, just a few moments here of kind of calm before the storm, as we've obviously got the carriers all moving into place and coming up on the production tab, so they're going to come up, and I mean, it feels like Zest being pretty greedy getting to those carriers, but if Solar's not going to attack him, then fair enough, credit to him. I mean, he's got storms to defend positions, stasis wards too. A lot of stack defense coming through as well. This fight will not maybe happen on the right side though, but maybe over on the left. This is going to be seeing charge about to complete. Plus one air weapon still coming in. The cannon shot's already going down. Revelation drops. I mean, those lurkers don't have adaptive talents just yet, so they can't reposition super quick. Now, the fight actually does happen on the right side of the main army. Here comes on the right side. A little harassing force on the left. And Zest will have to respect as well that one Immortal wandering forward obviously didn't do much for him there. As our lurkers still firing, the Hydras are set up here as well. I'm just trying to push into this position. Cannon's taking a bit of damage. Zelt's going to go charging in. Just going to have this hatchery taking a lot of hits right now. I mean, hatchery might just die. Transfuse available? No? Wow. Hatchery just straight up, you know, just up and dies. Wow. A few drones as well. I mean, even pulling the drones to try and fight it, still I wanted to keep that base up and running. The thing is, Zest's supply is low, but it's gonna get high real quick, and it's when it hits high, when he maxes out, he's already gonna be on such an amazing army. Just gotta keep those carriers coming out. Zest has the money to stop another one. Shouldn't really be letting that halt for any reason. No High Templar over here. Those no storms. This is a full-on reposition of the aggressive army from Solar now. Really pushing this left-hand side. I mean, this is a difficult position to fight into. Ranged lurkers that are in the choke points. You know, SimCity has to go down basically before you can fight this. The carriers are going to show up. He just stormed his own interceptors. That's a unique way of dealing with this. I mean, across the map, the Zealots go to counter, and obviously there's just nothing at home from Solar to deal with those Zealots. So it's actually a pretty big deal. Like, Zest should have a really good time with this. I gotta say, by the way, though, Zest is also... But Phoenix are just AFK, and Phoenix here could be useful if they came in and like lifted a bunch of lurkers. You could force a bunch of them to unburrow from the start. That'd be really cool, as the carriers are going to clean out, man. The Zealots are doing great across the map. 14 drones killed, and he's just trading really well against Lings. Finally, some Hydras show up behind the Zerglings to clean up. Oh my god, he just found the Vipers in the middle of the map. Hit the oh my god, hello, what about the feedbacks? Zest, why? He could have feedbacked and he would have killed all the Vipers. He still gets 2 of 4. I mean, that's good. It was just, it could have been better. It just could have been better, quite frankly. Okay, well, Zest lost a base, so that's obviously a pretty big deal. Yeah, those are the Phoenix that I'm talking about. They could actually be kind of useful in these fights right now. They could be really useful in the fights. Kind of shame we aren't seeing them as lurkers. Gonna reposition back down through the middle of the map. Gonna move around here, and we've got Ling Hydra, Corruptor, ready to strike at the front. So coming through, I mean, carriers are here, gonna fire already. A lot of Lings going down, entering this engagement. Hits the feedbacks on the Vipers, so they go down pretty much straight away. Hey, these lurkers are just on their own to the side. There's no Hydras to support them, so the carriers clean those up for free. Man, I don't think Solar can fight Zest's army. Sorry, again, I can't believe, even as Zest just kills the Phoenix on the top side. It's actually real. Oh my god, the lurker's out of position. Even if he just kills the Phoenix on the top side, it would be nice just because he gets more supply to make useful units, right? I think the Phoenix can have their use, but the problem is right now they're just eating up supply in the top of the map, and that could maybe be a downward swing at some point, possibly. Zest is maxed out. We already said if he gets maxed out, his army is going to be terrifying, and that is absolutely true here, no doubt about it. Archon, Carrier, and Stalker pushing across the map as a couple of lurkers up this high ground. I do not think that's a position Zest wants to fight. I mean, there's other places he can go to for sure. I wonder if going to the top left, he finally realizes that the Phoenix are here. And he is max, though. I don't blame him for looking for a fight. It's just how do you pick a fight against Lurkers? Ain't easy. Oracle looks to maybe try and get a retag with the Revelation. I feel like Zest is going to attack into this. I'm not sure how well it's going to go. Not very well, honestly. Too many Lurkers. I mean, this is where you need kind of maybe to free up supplies so you can send some Zealots somewhere again. Vipers finally abducts. That's the thing. If those High Templar aren't in position to hit the feedbacks, then the Vipers just get the abducts off, and it's just free kills right away. So Solar finally getting some value out of his army. Finally able to do something with this. Hey, the Phoenix show up. Oh my god. Yeah, nice to see you guys. Nice of you to make an appearance. They got like 7 drones. I guess they can get a few more than that as well. There's still definitely potential for a little bit extra damage. At the same time, Zest is trying to reposition around the side. And the good thing for Zest is if he keeps Solar on 5 bases, this is generally good for him. I don't know what resources lost is like just yet. We'll be seeing the army from Zest going to go back around the left. Yeah, if he keeps Solar on 5 bases, slowly gets 5 base himself. Could work out as we're going to see the Lurkers trying to get set up. I'm just going to see a few more drones going down. I really just feel like at this point you just kill a few drones, you just let these Phoenix die almost. Again, free up some supply for an extra carry or so in a fight. There's a single Lurker that has been in a massive nuisance. Turns out one Zealot will not kill this. Hey, fight on the top side. At some point. There's a little skirmish. Maybe it was just a few changelings getting shot down. Hey, I said these Phoenix becoming useful. They're actually being very useful now they figured out what to do. It just feels like Solar's pinned in on 5 bases. Not like Zest has made a bid outside of 4 bases himself, and I feel like there's definitely been a chance for that, but look at Zest's money. He's got a bank off a low work account too. He's not really lost anything in a while. Resources lost 15k to 10k. That's what I wanted to see. Now, I imagine you didn't find that that double abduct on the carriers too. It'd be like 15k to 9k or something. I like that Solar goes into Neural Parasite. Those infestors with Neural are a way to deal with almost any army that seems somewhat unkillable. Love to see Zest just making sure he has some cannons and shield batteries down there to make sure a Ling run by isn't the reason he loses the 5th, because I am a big believer right now that if you get this 5th base up at Zest, you're just in prime position to win the game. Another Lurker trying to run down the left side, but he gets there and shuts that down pretty much immediately, so no problem at all. Just gonna see the rest of this coming through. A couple hallucinations leading the charge. Carriers, Archons pushing through. Just gonna start. I mean, these rocks obviously nice to get rid of. Storms the changelings. I always find that funny when it's like I'd rather just storm the changelings than right click them. Is nice catch on the Oracle. I mean, Zest not really able to find a way into this position just yet. Again, just getting the pressure up, and it feels like Zest maybe could have done a bit more splitting up of the army again, though, right? Like his Zealot attack Celia pretty good. Oh, he's got Mothership top side, so he's going to go for the big recall. Mothership shows up, so big recall to the top. This is going to force a relocation from Solar, but he's going to be too late to save the base. Is he? I mean, he loses the stack defense here already. Now Storm's going down. He's actually just going to be able to fight these Lurkers right away. Viper's going to drop parasitic bombs. Zest is just going to commit to this fight. I kind of love it, honestly. I think it's going very well for him. He lose detection for the Lurkers? I think he might have done. I think he was... Obviously didn't have a revelation. Maybe he lost an observer during the fight. If he has detection, those Lurkers would have died. Zest has to back away, but he kept a lot of important units alive for sure. So, yeah, able to back away, and he might actually get this base as well. If he gets this base, Solar's going to really run out of economy very quickly. Suddenly you're really down on 3 bases or 4 bases. And 90 minutes in, a lot of those bases are already mining out as well, right? So, an Oracle goes down, another Storm, and a lot of these corruptors getting hit by that. I'm going to re-engage in. This hatchery does drop, and yeah, I think it's worth Zest trading a little bit to deny that base as Solar. Well, he's already spent his bank. Right now, it's like, oh my god, Zest, you're only on 150 supply, but he does have a bank to rebuild with. He's on 5 bases. He's not on a huge probe count, so that bank hasn't been building up massively quickly, but it's still sizable. It's still there for him to make use of. Well, pushing through, just going to be having our Corruptors, Vipers, and Lurkers all setting up, and well, I mean, there's a lot of Lings out down the bottom side of the map here, so they're going to go running through. Looks like they're going to try and hit a couple of these bases. Going to get us around on this Nexus. That's a good shutdown, but how many Lings is it going to cost you? These Archons here able to get a few kills. And these Phoenix even still up. 26k to 19k lost in the game between the two players. These Lurkers slowly make their way forward. Revelation should go down. Again, the Oracle flew way further forward than it ever needed to there. It does survive, but it just could have dropped the Revel. I mean, I guess he was trying to maybe reach the Corruptors. Even that felt like unnecessary, though. Abduct, 1, number 2 on the carriers. Corruptors taking a little while to follow up from those abducts, but it's going to be another one. I mean, Zest is just running away. Zest's going to recall out of recall away from this base. And Zest is just not maxed out again still, right? Like, he's still just struggling to spend his money. Why is he not queuing up more carriers? There we go, starts them now. The thing is, carriers take a while to build, and with Zest the money he had, he should have had maybe even 2 more Stargates. I mean, it's just a Zest issue time and time again. Like, he just struggles to spend money. He is getting Shadow Strides, so I mean, that's one way that Zest can spend money, warping in a whole ton of DTs to harass around the map. I just don't understand what... to me, it's just astounding that Zest is so good, and yet he has so many issues spending money. Can you imagine how good he'd be if he could spend his money? He's freaking great. Well, I mean, Zest is going to rebuild up to Remax, but that's what I mean. Like, the problem is you're giving Solar a lot of time that maybe he shouldn't have had. Solar's able to rebuild 2 bases that he lost because Zest couldn't rebuild fast enough. So, like, again, add on a couple extra Stargates, maybe a few extra gates. I don't know how much exactly he has right now, but it clearly is not enough. Again, in a straight-up fight, I actually still don't mind Zest's army. I still think Zest's in a good spot, but you need to, you know, come out of these fights and take advantage, and you're not going to take advantage if you're taking 10 minutes to rebuild. Yeah. It just doesn't make... I mean, I can understand maybe you don't want to warp in like a bunch of gateway units, but then add on extra Stargates, right? Like, that's the thing. It's like he's building carriers, which take a long time to build, sure. But just add on 2 more Stargates, you know? If Zest, one could say if Zest spent all his money, it would be best. Is that his new nickname? Zest? If I spent my money, I'd be best? Yeah. I like this mothership play again. The recall to the top side previously was great as Interceptors do get fungled. They get back to the carriers, and it looked like there was a... Is that Zealots in the middle of the map? What is that chunk of units? Okay, it's Changelings. Okay. Well, yep, there's the recall up to the top side. So again, doing the positioning game, but Solar was actually already on the way up this time around. That's going to kill a hatchery pretty cleanly, pretty easily. Well, there's a Ling run by going to hit that bottom base. We'll see how well prepared Zest is to defend over there. Is he just going to recall out from this top side? It feels like he's... Oh, he just loses 2 carriers middle of the map. Was that all 3 actually? May have been. Man, like, it's just these little things from Zest are a little sloppy. He's going to recall out of there with everything, and that's fine. I'm not against that. It's just... It is sloppy. Solar maxed out still. I mean, this time Zest is maxed out too. He didn't lose much in this process. I mean, what has he done, right? He denied a base. That wasn't really set up in mining just yet. And he really needs to get his bottom right base mining. The one that maybe is about to die to Zerglings. We're going to see this in a second or two. There's a few cannons here, but that is it. And Zest apparently will not warp in Zealots just to fight this off. And he could as well, right? Like, he's got the money. He's got the money. What does he do instead? Like, doesn't recall over here? I think he's afraid of if he goes over there with his main army, then the army strikes the left side, which is probably responsible not to recall, but you know, he could have still warped in Zealots. Like, he's got money, he's got minerals abound. You can warp in those Zealots, and then they counterattack up the right side of the map. The problem is losing that base. It's actually important. 25 minutes deep in this game, you need base number 6. You can't just stay on 5 bases forever. Not if you're not taking advantage of when you win fights. I mean, this has just been like 5 to 10 minutes of Solar just rebuilding and just building up a massive bank. Solar had no right to get 3k in the bank here. I just feel like, having watched some PvZs that played out very similarly in the last day or two, in DreamHack and stuff, I just really feel like there was some better ways to approach this game from Zest. I just feel like he's missed a lot of opportunities. He's been very passive. Didn't ramp up the aggression when he's had the chances to. Yeah, sorry, I mentioned he could recall down the bottom right. He had just used his recall to get away from the top left. But like, he has like, he can just warp in Zealots. Like, the Lings aren't that good. He has +2 attack. Like, his Zealots will kill Lings. "26 minutes deep on Ice and Chrome." As Lings and Old are going to come in. Let's see how carries coming through. Overseer is getting pushed away and just going to be seeing the Blink counterattack against striking. There's a few more pros going down. This time Zealots will warp in to defend this, so Zest's able to push that back. But there's an Ultra showing up, which makes life a little bit more complicated, a little bit more difficult to deal with that. I like the introduction of an Ultra or two here and there, right? A good unit to just kind of run at bases every now and then, get some extra kills. And as you can see, that Solar is already making a bid down to the bottom right, so this base that we've talked about a few times is going to be in trouble yet again. Zest doesn't have too much free supply. He's about to recall his units to the far right, so he's going to hope to force something of a fight on the left side. Recall to the right? I mean, the mothership is seen, though. He's going to commit to that recall anyway, so in we go. So many carriers. The spores are going to start going down in this position, so the stack defense falls pretty quickly. Bungle start to come in. A couple of warning storms will keep the army away for the most part. There's the infestation in the back here as well. Here come the Corruptors, going to make a move through. I mean, it's hard to kind of say what's going on. There's a few neural parasites down on carriers as far as I can tell. Most of the infest is getting killed off, though. There's still a few lurks on the ground. I mean, the carriers have a good amount of interceptors left, and now we see a Stalker warping cancelled as the Warp Prism gets killed off. Buys Zest more time to fight off the Corruptors, though. 29 new Corruptors on the way. 29 new Corruptors, 32 new Corruptors on the way. It's just a mass of Corruptors to fight these carriers. I mean, he really needs it, but that is the entire bank of Solar here. The good news is I actually think it works out. And as long as he gets those Corruptors all joined up together, and he's gonna, well, Zest has Stalkers to reinforce, and if there's not a ground army, the Stalkers obviously gonna have a good time. Stalkers blinking in. Obviously, the Corruptors are the big targets right now. Needs to get rid of the Ultra, though. Obviously, you do want to keep the Stalkers alive. I think Solar's just gonna have enough. Zest is gonna recall, and I mean, he's done a good job at draining the bank of Solar, but it's cost him his entire bank as well. His entire bank was basically spent on these few Stalkers. And it looks like Solar's going to come straight across the map now. This counterattack to perhaps just move in and win this game too. And we're going to go to a third game for the first time in the matches today. As you're going to see, I mean, there's just no way these carriers survive against that many Corruptors. GG's, and Solar takes the second game, tying us up 1-1. Good play by Solar. I feel like Zest had opportunities he didn't take advantage of as well, and maybe I'm a bit critical of his play, but I just felt like that was a very winnable game for Zest, and now he's got to start all over again into a game number 3. We're tied up 1-1. All the same. As we go into game number 3. Decide a map here. Finally a game 3 here today. As in the bottom left, it's Solar the blue Zerg. In the top right, it is the red Protoss Zest. As we get into a third and final map between the two of them, we have gone the distance. Yeah, like I say, guys, and looking back on game 2, I can understand it maybe seems like I'm just like, oh, Zest, you're just, what are you doing? Like, it just doesn't feel like you're doing anything, doesn't feel like you, like, but I feel like there's just so many simple things in his style. Like, it's at some point, it's just as simple, like, if you're gonna rebuild purely Stargate units, build more than 3 Stargates, right? Like, that was a huge problem. That was a massive problem, in fact. See Hatch got some tools setting up. Next is on the natural expansion, a gateway down as well. That probe is going to patrol. Set up the cyber core. Yeah, I just feel like there's just like a few things that Zest could very easily fix, right? Like, I don't think there's like a massive core problem in his play that's like, oh my god, you got to go real deep to figure that out and to see how it's going to be fixed. Like, I feel like it's way simpler than that from a viewer's perspective. You can kind of pinpoint the moments where Zest has issues. He had some really cool moves. The first time he recalled with the mothership, he puts his army in a great position. He kills 2 very important bases, and he takes a fight that realistically Solar comes out with no economy. And if Zest just rebuilds slightly faster off that and fights again, I truly believe that he just wins the game. Good news is he didn't, and we go into game 3. So let's talk about this now. Eternal Empire, once we get our tech choice of a Stargate here in a moment. Is it going to be a Stargate? I think it will be a Twilight. To switch it up. Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say, I was gonna say it before it went down. I was kind of thinking Stargate, it's Warp Gate first. So that's kind of indicative of a Twilight, but he's going to go on Warp Gate first like every game anyway. I think just after 2 games already, I think it makes sense to switch it up into a Twilight. Especially when Zest has played 2 games where both games he went Stargate, he went double Stargate. Which isn't just like a Stargate macro opener, like it's a bit more a little bit more gimmicky than that. So I feel like if that's the only way you can play Stargate as Zest, which it's not, I know you can play Oracle styles as well and stuff like that, but if that's how you want to play Stargate, you can't really get away with doing that a 3rd time in a row, I don't think. I think that's a little bit too, I feel like that's a little bit too much. Up Dark Shrine going to be the setup here, and Zest has really favored this Dark Templar Archon drop opener over a lot of the Resonating Glaives builds as of late. So that's definitely been his preference. So yeah, no surprise to see him bringing it out in game 3. Very stable, very secure. DTs across the map. The Archon drop to follow that up, and you can put on some good pressure while going into the macro on the 3rd base behind it. Let's see our Dark Shrine going to finish in a moment or 2, and again, a couple of extra gates just completing. So it's 3 gates, so it's very fast DTs. Now Solar is going to see the Warp Prism moving across the map, so he has very good map vision. He sees a lot of what's going on here. Zest hasn't wasted any time at all clearing out any sort of overlord position or anything, as the DT is going to warp into a 3rd that has only just started building this Spore. That Spore is kind of low HP, man. It's halfway done. DTs are going to run at it. The lair only just started. If that Spore goes down, Zest stops to kill Zerglings. The Lings and the Queens kind of get the cuddle on the Spore Crawler anyway, so it's good. The DTs will sit here and fight, though. I mean, they got a bit of damage done. If Zest had just ran straight for it, was there a way? Probably not. I think Solar would have got the Spore up anyway, so... Feels close. Wasn't actually all so bad, I don't think. Well, it's going to be seen. I like this. The extra 2 DTs walked in. Obviously, one is to morph the second Archon. But the other DT actually gets to walk across to the top side and actually go for a little bit of a stab in and deal some damage. Zest has just lost the game. Oh, that's horrible. Not walled off at all, and that is just... I mean, you have to recall an Archon. You're pulling your probes. This is disaster. Right, because, I mean, the problem is now the prison puts no pressure across the map, so Solar just holds down the drone key. And he just will not stop holding down that drone key as a few of these lings continue to go down. Stalker and a DT coming down to chase those lings away as well. So the lings get chased away over the left-hand side. Roach speed still coming up. A couple extra extractors coming through. And the Nexus on that third base as well, so... Nexus coming up. Yeah, just going to be seeing our Forge dropping down in the main base. I'm just going to be seeing our drop a lot from Solar even to keep up the pressure. Zest goes into Blink. Finally, the Archons are across the map to deal some damage. Can they do some damage? Probably a little bit, right? But not sure if it's really going to be all that much in the end. Archon's gonna keep on trading here. Roach goes down. The Queen gets picked up. Not a bad setup then as the prison gets pushed away down the bottom side. Just gonna see these few lings gonna go into the main. If the Archon's keeping on the harassment, you're going to see this fourth base taking a few more shots. Doesn't quite get it. It's low. I guess that's almost tempted, but it's also pretty fresh, so it's just going to cancel and rebuild pretty quickly, so it's not really that bad. Ling drop in the main, a few lings fresh from the third. Quick warp in from Zest means that this shouldn't do too much. And Solar's just stacking up money as the infestation pit's about to be done, and we're going to see some... I was going to say we're maybe going to see some Swarm Hosts here, but then the Hydrogen started. Yeah, well, maybe Swarm Host, but yeah, Hydra Den. In the end, it is just going to be a Hive, so... Lurker Den's maybe just a little bit late then. Obviously, Lurker Den and the Hive at the same time would allow for upgrades to start as the Hive finishes. This will be the Hydra, the Lurker Den just a few moments late again, not the end of the world. Just kind of tricked me as to what the plan was. But Solar was also stacking a lot of money, which is also why I was thinking, like, huh, maybe Swarm Host out of that infestation pit. But it will just go into the Lurker Den and then, of course, Hydras and eventually Lurkers. Which is terrifying because Solar's floating a lot of money and is still so far up in the supplies. I mean, Zest kind of accepting that this is going to be a later game. Building up Storm, his charge on the way as well, so you're setting up for that. Costume missiles get started. Our Lurker Den going to be a key part of this from Solar. He's actually, by the way, already just maxed out. Zest is in some trouble for sure. I mean, you can just see the possibility of, even if Solar just attacked right now, it'd be scary. I mean, Zest is high tech, I guess, right? With the storms and so on, so maybe an attack wouldn't work out. If Solar, like, really committed in, you know, aggressively into defender's position right here. If the Protoss is being aggressive, Solar can just spread out and take a great fight, and I think that's going to be the obvious choice for him in the near future. A few more lings running in. This Stalker is going to drop down dead. These probes still going down. Zelt gets surrounded too. We're going to see the push up. The Natural trying to come in as well. That's on the bottom side. He's kind of ran his way around this army, but that just means that he'll get a kill. The Zealot's in the Natural too. He's going to kill the Roach Rowan to start. Lurker's on the way up as Zest is... I mean, Zest's position is good, right? It's definitely caught Solar a little bit off guard, and it's definitely doing a little bit more damage here than you might want it to. So yeah, again, a few drones, losing some probes across the map. I mean, the Natural is sieged up and not currently mining from Zest, so And he's finding a lot of drones, though. And the low ground fourth base is problematic. He actually kills the natural expansion, so Zest now also in the main with the Archons. Trying to do a little bit extra. The Stalkers come in, and that's going to be a dead hatchery. Hatchery goes down, the Stalker's going to pick off the rest of these Hydras. Finally dealt with his attack in his own natural. And the thing is, Zest did some really cool stuff here. It's just a lot of really cool stuff that comes in a little bit too late. You know, it's a lot of cool stuff while he actually takes a lot of damage himself. I mean, he's put Solar down to 2 bases. Is there a way? Is it happening? I mean, that's the reality here, right? A 2-base Solar against a 3-base Zest. Even when Solar rebuilds that natural, he's on 3 bases. But he's got lurkers, so surely, as Zest, you can't push in and kill off any of these other bases, right? That's just not possible. I don't believe it is. I don't think you can do that. He's swiping the Hive, taking some serious damage. Doesn't get stuck, so it's a nice pick off from Solar. Takes away one of the pressure points that Zest holds on him. That's still out down the bottom side, ready for a push forward here. We do see the Stargate building, so some preparation for a later game. Maybe even just the Oracle to get reliable detection against the Lurkers. Obviously reliable because in a fight, an Observer can get taken down. If you have the Oracle Revelation, you know you're guaranteed detection for 20 seconds no matter what. So it can either kind of preferred point of detection. He's also had non-extra Stargates though, so it really does feel like multiple extra Stargates. Really feels like maybe more of a bid towards a Fleet Beacon. And maybe a slow build-up here off 3 bases. But now Solar's getting back to a 4th base. Well, Storm's available, good sentry positioning. And the Storm's a little bit exposed. High Templars a little bit exposed. The Force Flows were okay. Oh, the High Templars are just out here on their own. He loses 1, 2, and maybe even it was 3 of them. There's no army to fight these Lurkers. On top side, Zest is cleaning up whatever little harassment squad this is, these roaches. That's the thing though, Zest has so much on the top of the map. That's why he can't even begin to think about fighting the army in the middle of the map. That is for certain. As the Stalkers blink down, continue to chase and picking off a lot of these roaches. We do see the Fleet Beacon on the way up, so here we go. We're gonna make our way into carries, but I think he needs a 4th base. I think he needs to take base number 4, like now. But I don't think you can just wait around. He's actually gonna build Void Rays. Ooh. Do I like the Void Rays? Kinda. He's gonna take the low ground 4th, by the way. So he feels confident about defending. Just kinda cool. Yeah, obviously Solar getting up to 4th base is nice. Zest playing with 2 armies though is scary as well because now he has a couple positions he can move into. These Stalkers here are going to deny mining from the high ground. And then he's ready to move up into that natural if he sees the chance. I think this Lurker's in position. No! The warping is good. No, kind of a couple Lings getting through, but yeah, for the most part the warping is good. There's a lot of Lurkers. You do not want to fight that. There's a couple Storms coming down to get this Roach Ravager off, and all across the map, Zest does hold. He kills off all of those Lings. Only 1 got in, so good defense from Zest. Boy, was that needed. He could not allow those Lings all the way through. Now we do see carriers in production, so carriers on the way up, and I do like where Zest is taking this. I like where the end game is going to be. I like where he's going to end up as the Ravagers going to chase the Stalkers around the bottom side. A couple High Temple. Yeah, have Storms. Ravagers are pretty flimsy, so you get a Storm down on them, they'll drop pretty quick. Roach is still nibbling away at the Nexus, and Stalkers again back through the bottom side. Yeah, it's doing okay, picking off a few more Roaches. Stalkers on the left are getting ready to fight. Lings, Roach, Ravagers, and Hydras all setting up at the moment as well. Going to continue away to the left of this and just going to be seeing the few Vipers still coming through. thing is, Zest is slowly getting the carriers. And I really, again, I know I'm maybe reiterating myself, but once he gets to carriers, Zest is playing a game that is very difficult to break as Solar. With the army that Solar is currently playing, Solar has to make a big play into different styles. And this all came around because Solar was actually denied bases. So the thing is, Solar's worker count is still down below Zest, and Zest is taking base 5. So Zest is getting into a really good spot. Zest also building Flux Veins, though, and Void Rays once more. I mean, if you can overwhelm the Hydras, you can leave the carriers and the Voids to pick away at the Lurkers, that's fine. And there's a lot of Lurkers. It's not that many Hydras, in all honesty. We're talking about 20 Hydras. They can die. I would just love to see some Storms available, though. There's no High Templar available right now. Is Solar a little bit late to burrow there because there's a Zealot DT counterattack that's coming across the map, and he's going to pick up a Spore. There are going to be Overseers showing up, but he's going to move up to the high ground. Might even get away with a few of these units, so can maybe use that as a secondary run-in. You know how powerful that can be once the Zerg is trying to be aggressive once more. And what a time for it to show up. It was just as Solar was getting into an aggressive spot, and it buys Zest even more time for upgrades, extra Void Rays to get onto the map. Is Zest going to make this? Is Zest going to make this a ZVP final? Is what I was meant to say. I just decided to cut the sentence halfway through. Tired Wardy brain is having a real impact on the cast right now, guys. Stalker's still coming in, picking off a Hydra. The Lurker firing as well. Stalker's picking away at the Hydra. I'm just going to see his Lurker's going to burrow up, and a bunch of probes are going down. A lot of work is getting picked away. So, I mean, this just the fourth base dies, but Zest will deny a fifth. He'll deny maybe even the third. I mean, it's a base for more viable. I mean, 2 bases, really, right? Because he's going to get the 5th base cancel, and he's going to get this base too. I mean, this is fine. From Zest's point of view, kill off a base here. He's going to get up here. I mean, you've got to still clean out the Lurkers. Where's the air army? It's in the main base. It's on the way over, but it's not here yet. This one Lurker's actually saving the day, killing off these Zealots. Zest is going to lose his 5th base. How important is that? I still kind of look at this army of Soul, and I wonder if he just doesn't have enough. And where is the air army? It's finally moving down across the map. Why is it moving across the map? Why is it not just here to help defend? Is he going to try and cut off the reinforcements and the back away from this? And it's not a bad approach, but it kind of is. The Void Rays are going to fight on their own. Now they back off, though. And I don't mind this fight with the carriers involved, too. The Interceptor's going to take a good part of this to give a good opportunity, but the Ducks are good to bring the kind of carries into a weird position. The problem is the Stalkers can't fight the Hydras because of the Lurkers. All you have to do is kill off the Hydras. You kill off the Hydras and everything else will follow. But it looks as though the Hydra count is maybe just a bit too good. The carriers are going to go running. And Zest is going to get pushed back. I just don't understand why he didn't try and make a defense on the top side with the air army. It feels as though he just really felt as though he could do something across the map, but that's such a weird decision. Because it feels like there's absolutely moments there where Zest can just clean up the Lurkers, right? Or take a fight where the units are pushing into a choke. In the end, this fight wasn't good for him, and Solar is maybe going to actually make this the ZVZ final. It's been a hell of a semi-final, though. Gonna see the War Prism down the left side. Zealots will unload and charge straight through to a couple of these drones. Over on the right, Zest's gonna fight again. I mean, he can just give up enough to get rid of Hydras. Again, the Hydra count is so important. 16 Hydras on the map. There's 7 Void Rays. He's gonna kill the Hydra 10. That's actually a huge pick off of the Prism in the main base. He's gonna get the Hive as well. I mean, the Hive right now is massive too. Get rid of any Viper production. Oh my god, Zest is still kind of doing this. Oh my god, honestly, the semi-final has just been absolutely ridiculous. I've had no idea what's going on the entire way through. Well, especially this game 3. We had a pretty good idea of game 1 and 2, but this third map is really something. Probes need to start long distance, and I mean, just build a Nexus, obviously, as well. That's also an answer. You probably get away with it. I don't think there's enough anti-air on the map right now to really fight, especially with storms included, so you can actually storm the Hydras. That was kind of missing from the fight across the map previously, right? Imagine there was a couple of extra storms there. The difference that would make would be really huge as Ravage goes down. The Overseer chased away, gets picked off pretty quick. Hydra Lurker still moving up the right side of the map at the moment. And Solar just going to back away once more. I mean, still has a supply lead. And now more Hydras are pouring out, right? This is the issue. Solar's mining off the bottom two bases, so his supply starts to look way better. Ahead of the... ahead of this next fight. So Solar with a little bit of time on his hands. Now that Hydra count is truly terrifying. And what's changed from Zest? Nothing. He added an extra carrier in all of this time. And that's because Zest is just sitting on 3 bases, 20 minutes deep, against Solar, who has 2 fresh bases. So yeah, this was maybe again Zest needed to make something happen as he had that advantage, but it's hard to do that across the map. In the position Zest was in, I definitely agree. I can understand why he didn't, and now there maybe is just too many Hydras. Storm has such a huge role to play. Good feedbacks, 2 Vipers hit. Storm on the Hydras initially. You need more of that. If you're gonna win this fight, you need to get rid of some of the 41 Hydralisks. That is sure. And Solar's about to max out. Those 2 bases, if you can see the income graph, I think you would just see the reason why Solar's just suddenly kind of winning the game again, because the income for the last 2 or 3 minutes has just been uncomparable. Solar's been mining tons in comparison to Zest, who only just now is getting a 4th base mining again, 5th base starting. Maybe Zest even just re-expanded a bit faster, right? He would have more to fight with here than he has at the moment. He's going to see the Lurkers making a bit forward. He actually gets some of the High Templar. There's the Abducts coming through. Just hits 1 carrier for the moment. One more feedback. Nice feedback on the Vipers. But the High Templar left behind. Orphan and Archon to save what he can, but Solar gets a carrier at the same time too. And these Hydra's going to pick off the Zealots up to the top. Leaning up at the moment. $180 supply of Solar. Only 42 drones in the game. I mean, Zest is finally going to start mining himself, but now it's Solar's turn to press the issue before Zest gets set back up again, right? And does it look like Solar's going to do that? Yes, absolutely does. Looks like Solar is ready to just go and jump on this for the most part. So here we go. Just going to jump in. Just going to have the Hydras picking off this Nexus on the top side. I mean, Zest is going to counterattack. It's not the worst idea. It's maybe one of the better ideas given the position. And he's going to force Solar back. There's also an attack in the Natural expansion. Natural goes down again. I think as the Viper was consuming it as well. I mean, problem is, yes, you're killing a base, but you've also lost a base of your own. And Solar still has the better standing army. So, again, in terms of trading out bases, it's fine for Solar. And he takes it down 2-1 in the semifinals. In the next summer 2020, Solar wins out and will go through to the grand finals against Rogue. GG's. What a series.